Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Martial Universe Season 10 Part 46 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. The black crack looked just like a monster which stretched on endlessly, as it squirmed in the sky. Behind the crack was total darkness. In fact, even with Lin Dong's mental energy, he could not detect what was going on behind. After they arrived, Lin Dong and the rest wore a solemn and stunned expression as they stared at that black crack. Clearly, the shattered space was behind that crack, and that was also the realm where the devouring master died. Such terrifying energy ripples. He is indeed the devouring master. First Elder Zhu Li looked at the huge crack before he involuntarily exclaimed. He was also a top-tier expert who had touched reincarnation. However, he still felt fearful when he detected those vast and endless energy ripples. The devouring master was indeed profound and unfathomable. Lin Dong nodded with a grave expression. Promptly, a thought flashed past his mind before he took a glance behind him. With a faint smile, he said, "It seems like there are many capable individuals here. They have all came so quickly." After Lin Dong's voice sounded, many rays of light struggled before they charged out from within the celestial tempests far behind them. Within a couple of flashes, they had already arrived at a short distance away from them. The first to appear were the experts from the 9 Phoenix tribe. Next were the experts from the Kurumpan tribe. Following which, experts from the various 8 king tribes showed up as well. It was evident that these people were all extremely powerful. Moreover, they also possessed their own unique techniques. As a result, they were not too far behind. Within less than 10 minutes, this originally quiet, deepest part of the desolate plains was gradually filled with people. After these experts all hurried over, all of them cast their excited eyes towards the huge crack in the sky. It seems like they were all well aware that the source of the recent commotion in the demon region came from there. However, those who arrived here were all extraordinary individuals. Therefore, even though the shattered space was right in front of them, they were still extremely cautious. In fact, all of them kept their greed in check and did not take any risk. Everyone is so cautious. Lin Dong smiled when he saw this peculiar silent atmosphere. Meanwhile, his dark black eyes were staring intently at the black crack before he involuntarily clenched both his hands. That was because he realized that the devouring ancestral symbol within his body had begun to vibrate stealthily. Furthermore, through this vibration, Lin Dong was able to feel a mysterious connection with something within the shattered space. That connection should have originated from the devouring master. Let's go in first. Lin Dong inhaled a deep breath of air before he took a step forward. Beside him, Little Martin and Little Flame were slightly startled upon seeing this. After all, they understood Lin Dong very well and knew that the latter was extremely cautious. Typically, he would never choose to take the lead at moments like this. However, relax. As if he knew that this was going to happen, Lin Dong gently smiled and comforted the both of them. Without further ado, his body moved before he took the lead and charged into the black crack in front of many pairs of eyes. Then, his body vanished. Let's go. When the Little Martin duo saw this, they stopped hesitating. With a wave of their hands, their men also rushed forward. Then, they followed closely behind Lin Dong as they charged into that crack. With Lin Dong's group leading the way, the various powerful individuals behind could no longer restrain themselves. After a brief moment of hesitation, the men from the 9 Phoenix tribe and the Kurumpan tribe immediately rushed into that crack. Wild spatial ripples swarmed Lin Dong the instant he charged into that spatial crack. However, he did not put up a resistance against them. Instead, he allowed the spatial ripples to diffuse around him. Soon after, he felt his vision turn blurry. The next time he opened his eyes, the scene in front of him had changed drastically. After stabilizing his body, Lin Dong immediately surveyed his surroundings. Promptly, his body froze. In front of him was an endless desolate land. However, that land was filled with gullies that were hundreds of thousands of feet in size. These gullies did not appear to be naturally formed. Instead, it seems like they were formed due to extremely terrifying fights. This land looked like an ancient battlefield that was riddled with scars. In fact, even after tens of thousands of years, the fearsome ancient aura permeating this place remained as intense as before. Looked into the horizon, Lin Dong saw some dense white bones that were hundreds of thousands of feet in size. Those bones were broken and one could no longer identify their shape. However, there was still a fluorescence glow being emitted from those bones even after such a long period of time, while desolate-like ripples spread from them. Therefore, one can easily imagine just how frightening the owners of these bones must have been, tens of thousands of years ago. Huh? Where are little Martin and the rest? Located in this foreign environment, after Lin Dong recovered his senses, he was startled when he realized that First Elder Zhu Li and the rest were not by his side. Immediately, he frowned. Soon after, he came to a sudden comprehension. It turns out that the spatial crack was unstable because of the wild and violent energy seeping out from this place. As a result, those who entered the crack were dispersed randomly. Big brother. A whistle sounded from nearby while Lin Dong frowned. After which, he saw three figures rapidly rushing over. Upon closer inspection, he realized that they were Little Flame, Little Martin, and the Heaven Dragon Demon Commander. From the looks of it, the three of them were sent to the same area and they were able to quickly locate each other. Just the three of you? Lin Dong looked at the three of them and asked. I? The rest of them should have been separated. But it doesn't matter. We are all headed towards the deepest part and we should be able to meet them soon. Little Martin nodded. After which, his eyes swept across this place before he said, "This place seems to be an ancient battlefield left behind from the ancient times." When Little Martin saw this miserable ancient battlefield, he sighed involuntarily. The calamity which occurred in the ancient times affected every living creature in the world and no one was spared. Lin Dong nodded. When he saw the huge bones scattered all across the ground, his heart sunk. Those darned Yima were truly powerful. In fact, even with the symbol ancestor in command, they only managed to scrap a narrow victory. Moreover, they also left behind many hidden dangers. One example was the mysterious Devil Prison, who had secretly extended their influence to various places. Many top experts from the ancient era should have died here. Looking at these bones, I believe that they should belong to tribes that only existed during the ancient era, Little Martin said. Lin Dong nodded again. The demonic beast world was far more prosperous during the ancient era and there were more overlord tribes than the current four. However, those other overlord tribes were exterminated during that calamity. Let's go, we'll head directly to the devouring divine palace. Lin Dong mused for a moment before he cast his attention towards the deepest part of the ancient battlefield. This ancient battlefield was far too vast and it was filled with a fearsome aura that could interfere with one's mental energy probing. Fortunately, Lin Dong possessed the devouring ancestral symbol. Therefore, he was still able to determine the right direction thanks to the faint connection that he felt. All right. The Little Martin trio did not object. Their best course of action now was to locate the devouring divine palace. Otherwise, things would be a little troublesome if someone else managed to get there before they did so. After making up their minds, the four of them did not hesitate any further. Immediately, their bodies moved before they shot forward, transforming into 4 rays of light that tore through this quiet land. Soon after, they disappeared into the horizon. This ancient battlefield was exceptionally vast. After traveling for nearly 20 minutes at their full speed, Lin Dong's group were still unable to spot the end of this ancient battlefield. Meanwhile, the number of huge bones on the ground increased and this scene caused their expressions to become even more solemn. Although this was only a corner of the Great World War, it was still possible to deduce how terrible and frightening the Great World War must have been through this scene. Along the way, Lin Dong's group encountered many powerful individuals as well. However, all of them were guarded and showed no intentions of interacting. Nonetheless, Lin Dong was also pleased by this fact. In fact, he even quietly rejoiced when he saw that some of them were headed in his opposite direction. After all, even though Lin Dong did not think that they could pose much of a threat to him, it was always good to have one less competitor. 4 rays of light flashed across the sky, while Lin Dong's sharp eyes scanned the ground beneath. He was just about to up his speed when he suddenly realized that Little Flame, who was traveling beside him, had slowed down. "What is it?" Lindong was startled. He turned his head to look at Little Flame, only to discover that the latter was a little absent-minded. Meanwhile, the latter's tiger eyes were staring intently at the scar-filled ancient battleground below. "Big brother, it seems like there is something at that spot beckoning me." Little Flame hesitated before replying. Lindong was startled when he heard this. He exchanged glances with Little Martin before the both of them stilled. After musing for a moment, the four of them slowly landed onto the ground. The spot where they landed was the intersection of many 100,000 feet large cracks. Meanwhile, darkness filled that deep gully. "The beckoning is coming from this place." Lindong pointed at the seemingly bottomless gully and asked. "I?" Little Flame mused for a moment before he nodded solemnly. Then, he rubbed his head and laughed bitterly. "The blood in my entire body became much hotter after I reached this place." "Why is this happening?" Lindong was slightly startled. "Previously, I mentioned that there are many tribes in this ancient battlefield, which only existed during the ancient era. Since Little Flame possessed the heavenly devil tiger tribe's bloodline, if he sensed something below, it is likely because there is a dead tiger tribe ancestor below. However, I do not know which tribe that ancestor belongs to." Little Martin voiced his thoughts. "Won't we find out once we take a look?" Lindong smiled. His mind moved before a silver-white mental energy ball of light rose from his palm. After which, he tossed it directly into the deep gully. Bang! The mental energy light ball exploded before bright light scattered apart like the sun, expelling the darkness within the deep gully. After the darkness within the deep gully was expelled, the eyes of Lindong's group suddenly shrunk. That was because they could see a huge creature at the bottom of that deep gully. Meanwhile, an indescribable brutality was spreading from it. That huge creature was nearly 10,000 feet in size. Meanwhile, its body was purely black and white in color. At a glance, it appeared like yin-yang was in suspension. Meanwhile, there was also one white and one black wing on its back. It laid on the ground and it had no signs of life. However, the overwhelming and peerless ferocity spreading from it was sufficient to cause Lindong's expression to become solemn. "What tiger tribe is it from? It looks so bizarre." The Heaven Dragon Demon Commander involuntarily asked. Amongst the current tiger tribes, the three great tribes were the Heavenly Devil Tiger Tribe, Dark Abyss Tiger Tribe and Ground-Shaking Lightning Tiger Tribe. However, it was obvious that members of these three tribes were not as awe-inspiring as the large black and white tiger in front of them. Lindong slowly shook his head. Then, he turned to look at Little Martin. The latter released a deep sigh. His expression was grave as he spoke each word deliberately. "One of the ancient overlord tribes, the Darkness Saint Tiger." "Darkness Saint Tiger?" Lindong and the Heaven Dragon Demon Commander were stunned when they heard this name. After all, this tiger tribe no longer existed in the present demonic beast world. The Darkness Saint Tiger could be said to be the common ancestor of the current tiger tribes. However, due to the world war of that ancient era, the Darkness Saint Tiger became extinct, and their bloodline was not continued. This led to the present-day tiger tribe's gradual decline and they ended up losing their previous overlord status. Little Martin explained. "I once read about it in an ancient text. The Darkness Saint Tiger tribe was extremely powerful. Back then, one of their ancestors had been all-powerful, and countless strong Yimo died at his hands. Even during that ancient era, he could be considered a top-class expert." Lindong was involuntarily speechless when he heard this. It seemed that this so-called Darkness Saint Tiger tribe was indeed extremely incredible during that ancient era. Unfortunately, one could no longer find a member of this tribe with the same bloodline in this present world. This skeleton in front of us is perhaps the last Darkness Saint Tiger. Little Martin softly sighed. This tribe, which was once renowned throughout the world, had now completely vanished into thin air. A fact that inevitably made one feel sorrow. "Big brother, shall we head down and take a look?" Little Flame's tiger eyes stared at the huge creature at the bottom of the deep gully. His face was flushed at this moment. Clearly, His heart was filled with intense emotions. The Darkness Sen tiger tribe was just like an ancestor to those who possessed the bloodline of the tiger tribes like him. It was only naturally for him to feel exceptionally emotional upon seeing it. Lin Dong did not have any objections to this. He nodded and the four of them shot forward. Their bodies flashed a couple of times and appeared at the bottom of the deep gully. Only after appearing in close proximity to the Darkness Sen tiger did Lin Dong fully sense the unrivaled ferocity from it. Although this Darkness Sen tiger was no longer alive, the faint pressure present still caused the blood within Lin Dong's body to churn. Little Flame stared intently at the huge Darkness Sen tiger's body. After a brief hesitation, he slowly stepped forward and clenched his hand. His fingers pierced into his palm and blood flowed out. He slowly extended his bloody palm and finally gently placed it on the large head of the Darkness Sen tiger as he knelt on one knee. This appeared to be an extremely ancient formality. The Lin Dong trio stood behind Little Flame. Their eyes vigilantly scanned their surroundings, prepared to deal with any sudden changes in the situation. Fresh blood spread from Little Flame's palm. After which, they became many lines of blood and seeped into the body of the large Darkness tiger. Following the infusion of the blood, rays of light began to appear on the body of the Darkness Sen tiger. The light slowly rose as the huge Darkness Sen tiger's body gradually faded. Lin Dong's gaze was glued to the rising light. His eyes focused and saw that the rising light was converging in the air. In the end, it turned into a miniature black and white light tiger. The tiger eyes of the black-white light tiger shook. Finally, they slowly opened. Those tiger eyes were filled with an ancientness and an aura of great changes. When they saw Little Flame, ripples emerged within them. "My descendant." A raspy ancient voice was emitted from the black-white light tiger's mouth, echoing within the deep gully. "Ancestor." Little Flame knelt with one knee on the ground. His tiger eyes gazed at the black-white light tiger. The blood flowing in his body caused sincerity and intense emotions to be revealed on his face to reveal. The black-white light tiger smiled as if he had been relieved of a huge burden. Soon after, he opened his mouth to speak. However, those words were clearly only transmitted into Little Flame's ears. The Lin Dong trio were unable to hear anything. Little Flame remained kneeling on one knee as he quietly listened to the ancient voice that was being transmitted into his ears. It was a long time later before he finally nodded. "Ha ha, my tens of thousands of years of waiting has finally been rewarded. I will finally be able to rest in peace." The black-white light tiger said in an extremely old voice, a voice that was brimming with tiredness. "It is fate for us to have met. Hopefully, my tribe's bloodline will not end here." The black-white light tiger's voice sounded. After which, his body gradually faded as the light scattered. Only a black and white bead was left floating in the air. An indescribable ripple emanated from within the black-white bead, while blood seemed to flow on the bead's surface. Little Flame blankly looked at the black-white bead, which was condensed from the final bloodline of the Darkness Sen tiger. Soon after, he got up with a solemn expression and extended his hand. The black-white bead drifted down towards his hand. Lin Dong slightly smiled upon seeing this. It seemed that Little Flame was blessed by fate. He was after all from the tiger tribe, and if he could obtain the last bloodline of this Darkness Sen tiger, it would be extremely beneficial to his future training. The four people at the bottom of the gully were rejoicing because of the reward they had obtained. However, just as the black-white bead was about to land in Little Flame's hand, an unusual change occurred. Rushing wind sounds were heard and a figure appeared in a ghost-like fashion. The figure immediately grabbed at the black-white bead. "Who?" Lin Dong and Little Martin practically responded at the same time as intense chilliness surged from within their eyes. However, Lin Dong was still the fastest. Silver-white light tore through the air and appeared in front of the black-white bead in a flash. It spread apart, forming a thin light arc. Bang! The figure let out a cold snort upon seeing that he had been obstructed and threw a punch. Vast and mighty force surged and powerfully slammed onto the seemingly thin light barrier with the power of a mountain. However, this punch merely caused the light arc to sink as if it was made from cotton. After sinking to the limit, the light arc emitted a bang as it reflected the force. The figure was caught off guard, and was immediately sent flying backwards by the resultant force. His feet stepped on the ground repeatedly in order to stabilize himself. With the help of Lin Dong's lightning-fast response, Little Flame managed to grab the black-white bead, and immediately swallowed the bead in a single gulp. Only then did he look at the person who had interfered with a furious expression. "Who are you? Don't you know what is called first come first served?" The Heaven Dragon Demon Commander coldly shouted. First come first served in such a situation, do you really think that I am a fool?" The figure laughed in a strange manner. After which, he revealed himself. This person wore a grey robe. His body was huge and he had a rough-looking face. Mighty Yuan power surrounded his body. This Yuan power surged and churned, transforming into a ferocious black tiger behind him. "You are, from the Dark Abyss Tiger tribe." Little Flame's expression sunk as he stared at this person. "Ha ha, what good eyesight." That figure laughed loudly and said, "I am Luo Lai, first commander of the Dark Abyss Tiger tribe." "Ha ha, I am Luo Teng, the second commander of the Dark Abyss Tiger tribe." Another laughter sounded after the first person spoke as a phantom-like figure came sweeping down a mountain wall nearby, and appeared at Luo Lai's side. "So it is the members of the Dark Abyss Tiger tribe. You actually dare to snatch something that my celestial demon Martin tribe has taken a fancy to. Truly bold." Little Martin looked at the two of them. His eyes were ice cold as he icily chuckled. "Ha ha, it is indeed problematic to offend the celestial demon Martin tribe. However, it is worthwhile to offend them for the final bloodline of the Darkness Saint Tiger." The expression in Luo Lai's eyes was altered as he laughed. "Friend from the celestial demon Martin tribe. You should be aware of just how important the bloodline of the Darkness Saint Tiger is to our tiger tribes. If you give it to us, our Dark Abyss Tiger tribe will follow every command from the celestial demon Martin tribe in future. What do you say?" Luo Teng said. "My celestial demon Martin tribe is not interested in your Dark Abyss Tiger tribe. Since my third brother wants this thing, all of you better not have any thoughts about taking it. If you leave now, Grandpa Martin can treat it as though nothing has happened." Little Martin said in a faint voice. "Eh?" Luo Lai shook his head upon hearing this. "It seems that we will not be able to resolve this matter peacefully today." Although offending the celestial demon Martin tribe was extremely troublesome, Luo Lai was also clearly aware of the importance of the final bloodline of the Darkness Saint Tiger. If they obtained it, it might even be possible to regain the fame that the Darkness Saint Tiger had during that ancient era. At that time, they would definitely be able to unite the tiger tribes and once again rise to the level of an overlord tribe. Peacefully? With just the two of you? Little Martin's eyes were intimidating as he laughed coldly. "Just the two of you aren't qualified to snatch something from Grandpa Martin's hands. It makes more sense if your tribe leader is the one to do so." Lin Dong looked at the two with cold eyes. The Luo Lai duo had clearly stepped into the samsara stage. However, these two did not pose much of a threat towards their group. After all, they had a total of 4 members. "Indeed, just the two of us will not be able to stop all of you." Luo Lai grinned. His expression was strange as he said, "However, our Darkness Abyss Tiger tribe is not the only ones who are eyeing this Darkness Saint Tiger's last bloodline." Lin Dong's eyes hardened upon hearing this. He suddenly lifted his head as many rushing wind sounds abruptly appeared above the deep gully. After which, he saw another 4 rays of light shoot over, before finally appearing in the air above. The light faded and transformed into 4 figures. All of them had powerful ocean-like auras. They were well-built and possessed boundless Yuan power. Evidently, all of them were extremely strong individuals who had stepped into the samsara stage. Heavenly Devil Tiger Tribe, Ground-Shaking Lightning Tiger Tribe. Little Flame looked at the 4 powerful individuals who had appeared and frowned. "Looks like the 3 great tiger tribes of the demonic beast world have all gathered here." Lin Dong slowly tightened his fist as he said in a faint voice. Little Martin's expression was icy. These people really knew how to choose the best time to act. It just so happened that they had been separated from the main group. From the looks of it, these people were clearly planning to take this opportunity to rob them. Ha ha, this should be Commander Yang of the Four Titans Palace, right? You possess the bloodline of the Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe in your body and can be said to be a member of our tribe. If you hand over the final bloodline of the Darkness Sent Tiger, you will be the hero of our Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe. Two thin old men in black robes revealed a bright glint in their eyes as they stared at Little Flame and smilingly said. Little Flame curled his lips and laughed. These people from the Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe were definitely scum. It seems that all of you really intend to become enemies with my Four Titans Palace, the Dragon tribe and the Celestial Demon Martin tribe. Good, very good. Lin Dong's eyes were ice cold. He stared at the experts from the three great tiger tribes and slowly nodded. His low voice contained a suppressed fury and murderous intent as it echoed within the deep gully. These words caused the expressions of the members from the three great tiger tribes to slightly alter. However, after thinking about the importance of the Darkness Sent Tiger bloodline, all of them gritted their teeth as ominous light flowed within their eyes. Who? Lin Dong deeply inhaled as a similarly ruthless expression also appeared in his eyes. He exchanged a glance with Little Martin and they both nodded, while an evil aura rose on their faces. In that case, they could only kill them. An icy cold murderous desire was emitted from the members of Lin Dong's group. As of now, there was no need for words. The three great tiger tribes had their eyes set on the last bloodline of the Darkness Sent Tiger. However, it was impossible for Lin Dong to simply surrender it over to them. In that case, they can only use their fists to determine the victor. Humph! The experts from the three great tiger tribes clenched their teeth after they saw Lin Dong's lineup. Promptly, fury rose in their eyes. Although they knew that the Four Titans Palace was formidable, their three great tiger tribes were no pushovers as well. In fact, they were once extremely renowned factions. Heaven Dragon, launch the signal. Lin Dong said in a faint voice. The Heaven Dragon Demon Commander nodded upon hearing this. He clenched his hand before a blood jade appeared. After which, he directly shattered the jade. Immediately, an invisible ripple spread at a frightening speed after the jade was shattered. Gentlemen, it is still possible for all of you to leave right now. However, once my men from the Four Titans Palace arrive, I'm afraid that all of you may be unable to leave by then. Lin Dong stared at the 6 Samsara stage experts before he slowly said. Humph, do you really think that there are only so few of us? We were also separated. Therefore, what can your Four Titans Palace do if we gather together? How about if we include the forces from the Celestial Demon Martin tribe and the Dragon tribe as well? Little Martin ridiculed. The expressions of Luo Lai's group involuntarily changed when they heard this. In fact, there was intense fear deep within their eyes. Their eyes flickered for a moment, before a brutal glow surfaced on their faces. What can you guys do if we snatch it before your reinforcements arrive? Little Martin, the both of us will take on 2 person each. Little Flame, Heaven Dragon, the both of you only need to handle 1 each. Lin Dong's eyes were icy cold as he slowly said. Clearly, even though Little Flame possessed the Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe's bloodline, those 2 top experts from the Heavenly Devil Tiger tribe did not intend to show them any mercy. Little Martin nodded. Although they were up against 6 Samsara stage experts, it was not difficult for him to fight against 2 of them alone, given the formidable strength of the Celestial Demon Martin tribe. Moreover, Lin Dong's mental energy had advanced to the initial symbol Grandmaster level. Hence, it was also possible for him to fight against 2 Samsara stage experts by himself. As for Little Flame and the Heaven Dragon Demon Commander, though they were a little weaker, it was not difficult for them to handle 1 person each. Taking on 2 of us by yourself? The expressions of the powerful individuals from the 3 great tiger tribes became a little gloomy. Since they were Samsara stage experts, they were naturally prideful individuals. Therefore, they immediately felt that Lin Dong was looking down on them. I'm afraid that you have overestimated yourself. Luo Lai coldly said. Whether I did or not, won't you find out after we fight? A smile appeared on Lin Dong's face. After which, his eyes suddenly turned cold. Taking a step forward, his body appeared in front of the Luo Lai duo in a phantom-like fashion. Following which, a thought flashed past his mind before silver-white mental energy surged forward like floodwaters. Then, they directly transformed into thousands of mental energy spears, before they ruthlessly rained down on the two of them. "Do you really think I'm afraid of you?" The Luo Lai duo chuckled. Immediately, dense black light swept out from within their bodies. Meanwhile, their bodies also swelled. Then, the both of them threw a punch forward, before their punches actually transformed into two roaring black tigers. These black tigers rushed forward and collided head-on with the mental energy spears permeating the sky. While Lin Dong made his move, little Martin also charged towards the two Samsara stage experts from the ground-shaking lightning tiger tribe. Up against his monstrous and brutal aura, the both of them did not dare to be lax. After all, the ferocity of the celestial demon Martin tribe was well known. "Humph, little fellow, since you possess the bloodline of my heavenly devil tiger tribe, as an elder of the heavenly devil tiger tribe, I order you to surrender that item." A skinny elder from the heavenly devil tiger tribe stared at Little Flame with piercing eyes before he cried out. Little Flame glanced mockingly at that elder of the heavenly devil tiger tribe. He did not utter any unnecessary words as his metal tower-like body shot forward. After which, together with his shadow, he enveloped that elder of the heavenly devil tiger tribe. The Heaven Dragon Demon Commander gave a chuckle before he began to tussle with the remaining heavenly devil tiger tribe elder. 10 figures began fighting at the bottom of this deep gully almost simultaneously. Other than Little Flame, the rest of them were considered as genuine Samsara stage experts. Therefore, this battle was naturally an earth-shaking one. Meanwhile, the deep gully was also trembling because of the remnant waves from the fights. As large cracks spread, it caused many huge rocks to tumble. Swoosh swoosh. Eventually, this deep gully was unable to endure the impact from their intense fights. Large rocks tumbled crazily before the gully split apart. Immediately, 10 figures rushed into the sky. Initially, this place was silent. However, the fights between the 10 of them were clearly earth-shaking ones. As wild and violent energy ripples spread, it was quickly discovered by other powerful experts, who had also entered this realm. Immediately, they tore through the sky and hurried over. After which, there was a stunned expression in their eyes when they saw the intense fights occurring in the sky. Everyone who could reach this place were extraordinary individuals. Moreover, all of them had exceptional eyesight. Therefore, with a single glance, they were able to identify the parties who were fighting. Soon after, some conversations broke out. Aren't they from the 3 great tiger tribes? Why are they fighting with the 4 Titans' palace? That Lin Dong is indeed powerful. He is actually able to fight against 2 commanders of the Dark Abyss Tiger tribe by himself. Judging by those ripples, it should be mental energy, am I right? Lin Dong's mental energy is actually this powerful. It is likely that he has advanced to the initial symbol Grandmaster level. Initial symbol Grandmaster level might be a little stronger than Samsara stage, but I'm afraid that it isn't going to be so easy to fight against the 2 of them by himself. In the surrounding sky, many rays of light continuously rushed over. After which, many figures appeared. Then, they were slightly startled when they saw this huge fight. Clearly, they did not understand why the 4 Titans' palace was fighting with the 3 great tiger tribes. Ha ha, this is interesting. At a corner of the sky, 2 figures appeared. It was an old man and a lady. The old man had a small build, while the lady was tall and graceful. The latter's bright silver hair scattered down like a silver lake and drew much attention from the crowd. The 2 of them were Kuan Yuan and Kuan Ling from the Kuanping tribe. The silver-haired lady surveyed her surroundings, before her attention paused on the battleground where Lin Dong was located. She was well versed in mental energy to begin with. Hence, she could naturally tell that Lin Dong was using his mental energy to fight against the 2 powerful Samsara stage experts from the Dark Abyss Tiger tribe. He has solid control over his mental energy. However, it isn't going to be so easy for him to defeat the both of them. The silver-haired lady's voice was cold as she said in a faint voice. It is rumored that even before he advanced to the symbol Grandmaster level, Lin Dong was able to rely on his advanced profound death stage strength to fight against a samsara stage expert. Now that his mental energy has improved, it will be akin to gifting wings to a tiger. Therefore, I'm afraid that it will be extremely difficult for those two to defeat him. Kuan Yuan merely smiled, before he shook his head and said, "Bang!" 3 human figures clashed violently in the distant sky after his voice sounded. Following which, wild and violent Yuan power spread before the 3 of them staggered backwards by dozens of steps. Lin Dong stabilized his body. When he saw their ferocious expressions, he frowned slightly. Currently, his target was the devouring divine palace. Therefore, it was clearly not a wise decision to waste too much time here. Hence, it was best to end the fight as soon as possible. A glint flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. He clenched his hand before a miniature palace appeared. Then, he flicked his fingers gently before the palace shot forward. It expanded with the wind before tens of thousands of light rays shot out from within the palace. The light rays entwined around each other and formed a giant light formation. After which, that light formation enveloped Luoteng. Bang bang bang. Luoteng was startled when he saw that he was being enveloped by that light formation. Immediately, he hurriedly unleashed his attacks. However, that formation, which had trapped him, did not budge. The mysterious divine palace possessed a sealing ability. In fact, during the ancient era, it suppressed and sealed many Yimo kings. Therefore, although Lin Dong was unable to unleash its full strength, it was not a difficult task for him to use it to trap a samsara stage expert. Let's see what you can do by yourself. Lin Dong's expression was icy cold as he stared at Luo Lai, who was outside of the formation. He suddenly clenched his hand before the sky turned dim. Following which, storm clouds rapidly gathered in the sky while countless electric snakes danced wildly amongst them. After his mental energy advanced to the symbol Grandmaster level, Lin Dong was able to control various types of energy in the world. Simply by lifting his hand, wind, cloud and lightning would churn rapidly. Lin Dong's hand seals were changing with lightning-like speed. Finally, he formed a relatively peculiar seal technique. Promptly, the storm clouds churned, before countless electric snakes rushed out from within, startling the crowd in the process. Finally, those snakes transformed into a 10,000 feet large ancient symbol which hovered below the storm clouds. An extremely frightening fluctuation spread the moment the ancient symbol, which was forged from lightning, appeared. This fluctuation. When Kuan Ling saw that enormous symbol, she was startled. As someone who had also stepped into the symbol Grandmaster level, she was naturally able to detect that this lightning symbol was not merely created from lightning force. Instead, there was an extremely frightening object hidden within. Roar? Evidently, Luo Lai had also detected danger. His expression changed drastically as he roared furiously towards the sky. Immediately, monstrous black light undulated and spread across his entire body, before they transformed into a 10,000 feet large black tiger. That huge tiger had menacing eyes which were filled with ferocity. Meanwhile, a dark aura covered the entire place. Ancient lightning symbol. Lightning suddenly flashed across Lin Dong's dark black eyes. He waved his hand before the lightning symbol streaked across the sky like a bolt of lightning. Everyone could only see a lightning flash, before the large black tiger suddenly released a miserable cry. Sizzle sizzle. Resplendent lightning glow erupted from within the large black tiger body. After which, that frightening force ruthlessly smashed it onto the ground. Then, the land crumbled, revealing a huge deep pit. Meanwhile, a miserable figure was lying within the deep pit and his originally powerful aura had become much weaker. Victory was determined by a single strike. The crowd was startled when they saw that Luo Lai was defeated instantly. Many pairs of eyes began to turn towards the young man in the sky. The contempt in their eyes was finally replaced by a solemn expression. You? Luoteng, who was trapped within the formation, had an extremely ugly expression after he saw that Lin Dong was able to finish off Luo Lai so quickly. It's your turn. Lin Dong's face was devoid of emotions. He curled his palm before lightning flashed. Meanwhile, there seemed to be an ancient symbol floating on his palm. Swoosh swoosh. However, just as Lin Dawn was about to attack, many rushing wind sounds suddenly sounded in the sky. Soon after, several figures barged into the battleground. Then, they stared menacingly at Lin Dawn, who was about to make a move. The rest of the men from the 3 great tiger tribes have arrived. Kuan Yuan laughed upon seeing this. He said, however, there are even more people from the 4 Titans' palace. Ha ha, what is going on? Are the 3 great tiger tribes planning on attacking the 4 Titans' palace? In that case, my dragon tribe and the celestial demon Martin tribe will have to intervene. A loud laughter sounded from afar after Kuan Yuan's voice sounded. Soon after, dozens of figures, which were accompanied by monstrous auras, came rushing over. Their auras caused the expressions of the experts from the 3 great tiger tribes to turn exceptionally ugly. This episode ends here.